Beautiful, yes, but deadly. It's not so much the beauty which we can see, but what might hide behind what we can't, i.e. the fog. That murderous fog, it strikes again. We've got fresh updates from around the country, starting in Ohio. Folks, listen, I've been warning you about the three main targeted groups. There's a lot of collateral damage being taken out too, not just with our poultry flocks, but with our pets. We've got a story in here. If it doesn't wake you up about keeping your pets inside when you see these odd weather events move in, nothing will. There's nothing I can do to help you. But let's go first to Ohio. This is an email from somebody that wishes to remain anonymous. They write, I am new to your channel, so I have not seen a lot of your content. However, I would urge you to look into the drone sightings and Kakakahachu outbreak in Mercer and Darke counties in Ohio. Now, with that said, before I continue with this email, let me explain why I use Kakakahachu instead of the actual term. People are asking how come they're using it in the media, but you're afraid to use it in social media. Fear of censorship, fear of being unmonetized, fear of being just canceled. Well, here's why. The media is protected by freedom of the press. With social media, we're not. Social media platforms are privately owned, either shareholder owned, such as YouTube. Parent company, of course, is Google, publicly traded company. We actually own shares in the company, so we're partial owners. And then, of course, you've got Facebook, another publicly traded company, Meta. We own shares in that too. But Mark Zuckerberg pretty much calls all the shots there. So if these entities who own these social media platforms don't like what you're saying, or as Zuckerberg himself has recently admitted, if they're being pressured by people more powerful than them, i.e. the White House, to silence people who are telling stories they don't want told, they'll get rid of you. We are not protected by freedom of the press as social media content creators because we do not work for a free press. We work for privately owned social media platforms. Now, that answer, a lot of you asked that question in the comment section, so I wanted to clarify. Now, continuing with the anonymous email from Ohio. They write, I live in Auglaize County and was shocked when I saw drones above our area. Some of the guys at work ribbed me a bit about it, but they also began seeing them. Then we saw it on the news that they were spotted in Mercer County and Darke County. We live in a top poultry producing area. One farmer who was in the news article reported 25 to 30 drones over his barns, and the chickens tested positive only a few days later. So here we have a poultry farmer in Ohio whose farmyard is surrounded by 30 drones, and then a couple of days later, there's a Kakakahachu outbreak among his poultry livestock. Continuing. No one wants to sound crazy with the conspiracy theories, but the coincidences seem to be piling up. I hope someone will talk more about this. I do not want my name to be used. Sorry, but if you Google the info I have provided, you should be able to find what you need. Well, again, I like to check all my sources. I don't just come out here and read anonymous emails because anybody could send anything. And a lot of folks say that in the comments. They say, this might not even be valid. Or do you even check this? Yes, I do check. So I Googled Kakakahachu, but I use the real term, Darke County, Ohio, and here's what I got. This is straight from Google. I copied and pasted, so I'm crediting Google for the source, as the source. In late 2024, Darke County, Ohio was hit by an outbreak of highly pathogenic avian influenza, HPAI, also known as Kakakahachu. They thought I was going to say it, didn't they? See, Google themselves can say it, but if the wrong person on their platform saying it. The outbreak affected nearly 1 million chickens at a commercial egg farm in the county. So our anonymous sender talked about a farmer who had 25 to 30 birds test positive. Sounds like somewhere else around that county there was 1 million birds affected. What happened? The National Veterinary Services Laboratory confirmed the Kakakahachu December 27, 2024, less than 2 months ago, folks. The Ohio Department of Agriculture, which is ODA going forward, quarantined the affected facility and depopulated the birds. That means they unalived them, probably close to 1 million. The ODA set up a control area and surveillance zone to monitor nearby facilities. Gee, I'm curious, are they possibly watching for drones? Or are they watching to make sure nobody gets in the way of the drones? Whose side are they on? The ODA urged farmers and producers to review their biosecurity practices. What's the impact? The outbreak has significantly impacted Ohio's poultry industry. The outbreak has led to higher egg prices. Surprise, surprise. It may take several months for producers to return to normal. Months? Nay. I say years. Brah. This stuff's just getting started since these drones came out last fall. All right, now we've got an email from Deborah. Pay very close attention to this one. Deborah writes, "Hi, Kevin. I know a lot of people out there don't believe in chemtrails. I got some flack when I posted the attached photo with my opinion on Fakebook." That was my word, not hers. She used Facebook. I like to call it Fakebook because it's not real. "Several people told me this is simply a picture of contrails from jets. What kind of dummy believes that this is a picture of jet routes? Anyway, I have no doubt they are spraying all kinds of chemicals, bacteria, viruses, and who knows what else. I took this in the summer of 2024. I was out in the backyard working in the garden, and I looked up and saw this. Insert photo here." Oh. So that's the picture she saw. Yeah, those are not jet routes. Anybody that would design those jet routes would be fired because they would end up in collisions. That looks like what I saw when I crossed into northern Florida from Georgia just a couple of weeks ago on our trip down to Key West. Kind of thinking I should have stayed down there another week or two. Well, anyway, yeah, it looked like literally just like that, but like times 10. It looked like they were making checkerboards and chessboards in the sky. It's almost as if they're making fun of us with these chemtrails, the way they're designing them. They're going to start making smiley faces soon and spraying, "Have a nice day." All right, continuing. She continues, "Also, I think that spraying is where the caw-caw achoo comes from. People who are animal lovers like me need to keep their pets safe. My cat Harrison was so very sick recently. I spent nearly $600 at the vet to get him well. They asked so many questions because they did not know what was causing his symptoms. They finally asked." Now listen, folks, pay very close attention. The veterinarian asked her, "Does your cat eat birds?" I said, "Yes, nearly daily." That was an aha moment. They told me that they had been seeing this a lot lately in cats. So listen, veterinarians are seeing sick cats from eating the infected birds. Keep your cats inside, folks. Caw-caw achoo is rampant. The sick birds are easy to catch. The cat eats the bird and then gets the virus, a very nasty strain. There for a few days, I thought I was going to lose Harrison. How can we protect ourselves? I'm an old Missouri farm girl. I love the outdoors, but I have been staying in a lot. I just don't feel safe out there anymore, especially since getting a nasty URI from the killer fog in December. Very scary times we live in. I am 67, and I am certain due to that I am on the culling list. Well, I'm no spring chicken, but I am healthy, strong, no health problems or medications, and I will not go down without one heck of a fight. Thanks for your channel, Kevin." Deborah, I don't think you're on the culling list because you sound like you're fit, you're healthy, you're spry, you're not on any meds. You took the responsible route to taking care of yourself. You stayed outside, you remained active, you're fit, you're healthy, and you didn't take the tablet route. "Oh, my blood pressure's high? Hey, instead of getting off of deep fried foods and exercising, let me just take that tablet. Oh, my cholesterol's high? Instead of treating that through diet and exercise, just like I did the high blood pressure, let me get on a tablet." That's who they're going after. It's the ones that for many, many years represented a profit, but who now, if they were at 67, they would not be in your fitness level, Deborah. They would not be as healthy as you are, and they are on at least a dozen or more tablets. And they're now having medical expenses at a cost that they can't afford to pay for themselves. And so Nobody else wants to, so they are one of 3 targeted groups. Going to talk about that more in a minute, who, in my humble opinion and in the opinion of many others who have been following this saga, are being sprayed to be unalived because who wants to carry their burden? Deborah, you keep playing outside. You keep being an old farm girl. I think you're going to outlive most of us that are a lot younger than you. Folks, if you have a story that you'd like to share, you can send it to the channel. The email address is crazylake@mail.com. You must give us permission to share your story. We had some government shills trying to sneak some fake stories in on us about 2 months ago because we were right that there was not going to be any false flag alien invasion. There was not going to be martial law, and I came out and called it, and they didn't like that, so they sent us some fake stories, and then they claimed they didn't give us permission to share them, even though they sent them to us to share. So give us your permission, and if you don't want us to use your real name, ask to remain anonymous, and we will respect that. If you don't mind us using your name, say so and we will. We now have an email from Lori Thomas. Lori writes, "Hi Kevin, my name is Lori Thomas from Central Tennessee, and you can read my story and use my name if you like. My husband and I have been followers of your channel for a few years now and have been following closely since the drones, fogs, chemtrails, and UFOs have come to be. A few days ago, while driving down the road, we saw a huge flock of birds whipping around the sky like they were dancing in the wind. I mentioned to my husband that it was an odd time of year for sparrows to be out flying like this, but as we got closer to the flock, we noticed they were not sparrows at all. They were blackbirds. This is significant, folks. For those of you who don't know much about nature and science, just pay attention. Stay tuned. Listen, I'll just go ahead and cut to the chase. The significance is blackbirds are not migratory. There's one subspecies of blackbirds that's the red-winged blackbird. They're solid black with I know this because they nest in our pond, and I study birds. I watch them, feed them. Those are the only migratory subspecies of blackbirds, and they only go 800 miles. So she's in Tennessee. That's far enough south to where they wouldn't even migrate from there because they're further south than here. Where I am in Virginia, and in Virginia, the red-winged blackbirds actually don't migrate. They stay here. If they're in an area that's already warm enough for them, they'll stay. Only the red-winged blackbirds further north will come down to about as far as Virginia. She should not be seeing this. That's the significance of this. Okay, continuing. We've never seen blackbirds do this and in such a huge flock. Yeah, because they're not supposed to, like I just said. And everybody can Google that. Fact check me, brah. We began to wonder if they had been released somewhere nearby and if they were infected or not. It was a strange sight, and now I am concerned that this may be another way that they are releasing the Hachu. Lori, you are a thinker. You know how to use your brain. You know how to use your head. You don't just regurgitate information you see on legacy media channels or picked up in a book somewhere. She continues, thanks for your time and keep up the good work following and reporting this information to all of us since not anyone else is. Lori Thomas. What I'd like to point out after reading the point she brought up about are they possibly intentionally releasing infected birds on us so that we wouldn't see it, we'd never suspect it? I put a note here, remember about the blankets that the U.S. government used to give to the Native American Indians when we were trying to depopulate them. They were infested with smallpox and everything else that the Native Americans did not have a tolerance against. All right, so again, I'm going to take this point to let you know that this video is sponsored in part by, and you guys are awesome, my novel From the Graves of Babes. It's a ghost story based on historical fact. It's about a guy who, while he's working in Iraq as a civilian contractor, his daughter back home goes missing, ruins his marriage, leads him to heavy drinking. He goes to a mountaintop cabin where him and his father used to hunt when his father was still alive to kind of try to pull himself together, but he ends up daggone pretty much nearly drinking himself to death, and he starts receiving visits from little girls that nobody seems to know who they are, where they come from, because as it turns out, they're actually the ghosts of little girls who were murdered. They are being tormented in the afterlife by their murderer, who, along with them, is also in the afterlife. So now our main character has to figure out how to save these ghost girls from an actual evil ghost while not drinking himself to death and coming to terms with the loss of his own daughter. So it's a heart wrencher, and it did spend 6 months on Amazon's #1 rated ghost novel in customer satisfaction. When Christmas time rolled around that year, it was 2012, it finally got knocked out of the #1 spot by Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Yeah, anybody could have seen that coming, right? Okay, so anyway, I've only got like 10 of these left. I had boxes and boxes of them under my bed like a week ago, and I'm trying to declutter, and you guys have been buying them like hotcakes. And I want to point out that if you're a member of the channel and you do go buy that from Etsy, you get a personalized note on the back. It's autographed. The link is in the description box below. You will also get a free autographed copy of the only romance novel I ever wrote. It's called The Box. Why is it the only one I ever wrote? It broke the mold. It's the best romance novel, trying not to break my butt up here, probably ever written. All right. Now, listen, just a reminder in parting as I go back to my house way down there. That's my house right there. Oh, you barely see it because it's white too, like the snow. Listen. Something's going on. We're not getting answers. It's up to all of us who are out there watching around the country and around the world. We usually have folks chiming in from England, New Zealand, Australia, Canada. It's going on everywhere. Here are the 3 groups they're trying to unalive, in my humble opinion and in the opinion of many others. Unhealthy seniors. You become a burden. And this is an insult. They're pretty much saying to you, thanks for years of being a prophet, taking dozens of tablets, so our pharmaceutical companies can go cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching and get filthy rich off of you. Thanks for not exercising and dieting and living healthy. And thanks for working 60 hours a week to make us rich or whatever job you had for 30 or 40 years. Oh, but you're no longer needed. So that's group number 1. Group number 2, veterans, particularly combat veterans. Why? We're trained. We're skilled. We're knowledgeable. We're good leaders. We don't run from a fight. We run into the fight. Okay? And number 3, targeted individuals. What's an example of a targeted individual? Lori Thomas, I'm not trying to scare you. But that's an example. It's people who can think for themselves. People who think outside of the box. People who don't follow the status quo by the narrative they're pushing. It's people who can think for themselves. These people question authority. And when push comes to shove, they're not going to march off to slaughter with the rest of the sheeple. They're going to join the veterans and the leaders, and they're going to fight. They're going to resist. So those are the 3 main groups being targeted. Folks, you heard it. You heard it from the emails today. If you've got pets, dogs, especially cats, keep them inside when this fog rolls in, when the snow rolls in. Don't let them be outside eating birds, folks. It's deadly. It's deadly. Again, and I'm going to head off as this snow plow is coming over the mountain here. If you've got a story, send it to the channel, crazylake@mail.com. Give us permission to share it. Let us know if we can use your name or if you wish to remain anonymous. See you for more next time. Stay safe and stay inside.